Right. Hi, I'm Josh Hughes. I'm co-founder and president of Attitudes Entertainment Company and lead game designer of Team Kaizen.
I'm Trevor Hughes, co-founder and lead conceptualist on Team Kaizen. Manning the camera is our mother, Cindy Hughes, aka Gamer Mom, and this here is my workstation.
Yeah, and just like promised, since you guys helped us break 1K, we're going to do a dev diary for you. First of all, it's crazy awesome that we broke 1K and have over 20 backers saying that they believe in our dream. Thank you so much. You just cannot understand how awesome that is to us, to have other people come forward and say, you know what, I like it enough to pledge to put money down for it. You guys rock. We cannot understate how much we love you. You guys are awesome.
It's incredibly humbling and just amazing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I meant overstate, not understate there. But anyways, first of all, before we get to the showing of the 3 versions of Burst, we do have to answer some questions. First of all, for those of you who can make it to the Great Falls, Montana area in mid-October, or those of you who already live here, if you back Burst and are planning on attending the Great Falls Gaming Rendezvous, that's gfgr.org, make sure that you show the people at Giftger that you backed us, because that gets you an exclusive meet and greet with our crew. The actual date of it will be determined, but go to GFGR for more information. So, some people have asked us, how are you going to use the money? And I just want to say that everything you're going to see here today is the product of sweat equity, which is a very nice way to say free work. And we've all been working together as a crew with the idea that we're working together to achieve like a paid job out of this that will become a funded studio and be able to work together to make awesome games. So that means that a lot of people have been putting in a lot of hours to make awesomeness, and it would be great for us to be able to plunk some money down on a prepaid like Visa card and mail it to them and say, hey, here's some payment for what you've been doing. And also some of that other money will be used towards licensing issues when it comes to Unity. We're currently using the free version, and also with getting up on the PlayStation Store. For those of you wondering, we are a PlayStation certified studio. We're actually the first in Montana, and we have been in contact with both Sony and Unity to make sure that everything is square on those fronts, so we're not just shooting in the dark with that. And also stay tuned, because at the end of the little presentation here, we're going to announce a contest where you can win a PlayStation Vita for helping us spread the word, so stay tuned for that. Without further ado, we're going to start off with our Flash build from 2011. Burst started off with this concept that we wanted to do a rhythm game based on fireworks. And we had known that there was other games out there that did rhythm and fireworks, like Boom Boom Rocket, Fantavision, and we wanted to do our own. And at first we were kind of nervous that we might come off as similar to them, and we didn't want people thinking we were hijacking the idea. So we originally said, well, hey, let's do a rhythm game meets an asset management sim. And how we came to that is that we have people like managing how many shells they have at any given moment, and I'll show you more about that in a second. And we'll go from there. Trevor's going to show you a little Easter egg. This Easter egg is one of our staffers, Gene, riding X2 at Magic Mountain, California. And we photoshopped out the restraints, and we kind of forgot to tell him that we did that. And the first time he found out was he was sitting in a crowd of about 40 people when we showed that on a big screen, and the whole crowd just slowly turned to looking at him, and he was turning this bright red. And I'm still to this day not sure if that was out of embarrassment or rage, because he was staring right at me as that was going down, and I was actually kind of scared. But
Sorry, Gene, you're going to be immortalized on the internet forever with this picture.
Yeah. So anyways, Trevor's going to the play screen. He's going to use the song Haya's theme. Haya's theme's from our other video game that we're developing, Shared Soul, a martial arts fighter. Haya is one of our characters, and since someone developed that song for us to use as a tech demo song, we're like, well, hey, we're building a tech demo Burst, let's use it there too, because, you know, we're doing a music game and we need music. So anyways, before he starts playing, what we had players do was there's 4 separate launchers here that fill up with shells. You can queue up to 4 shells from any combination of the launchers, so like all 4 from one or 1 from each, whatever you want. And once you queued up 4 shells, you wait for a blue light to come down here, and once the blue light hits that window, you hit the detonate button and it blows up your queued shells. And the idea was that you wanted a constant stream of awesome explosions in the sky, but you wanted to keep track of how many shells you had in your launchers so that you didn't accidentally overspend them and run out and have blue lights coming down with no shells to launch, which meant you'd be losing points and failing out. And on paper, it sounds kind of cool. Like, you know, asset management sim and rhythm game, and honestly, brutally honestly, I'm still intrigued by the marriage of the two. Like, I still think that there's a way to make a cool game out of that concept, but when you're mixing in something very visual like fireworks, it didn't work out, and Trevor will show you why right here.
Well, and before I get to that, I also want to mention that you can see a 2D rendition of our 10th Street Bridge here in Great Falls, Montana, that is lit up so beautifully some nights. And it's part of the proceeds of the game will go towards the restoration of the bridge one day, hopefully, if we get this all working out properly. But the bridge has kind of been a staple of something that we wanted to kind of, have in the game to kind of show our flair and show some support to our own community. And we just really liked the bridge, and we thought it was a great thing to have fireworks shooting off of. So.
Oh, that's a cool thing. It's like striking, but doesn't detract from the fireworks.
Right.
So Trevor's going to show you here. The shells are going to populate automatically, so they're completely full there. And there you see he's detonating fireworks to the beat. And if you're someone like watching over his shoulder, it's actually kind of compelling and kind of cool. But if you're playing the game like people did on our website, we used to let people play it on our website. It was just there as a flash player. We got one piece of feedback all the time. Their eyes were stuck here and here. They were constantly watching the right side and the bottom to make sure how many shells they had left, to make sure what beat was coming next. They were never seeing the sky or the fireworks that they were detonating. Secondly, we were always talking to people because when you create a video game, you tend to do research on the subjects around it. And one of the things that we found out through our research was that different colors in fireworks were made by elements off the periodic table. Like copper makes kind of a bluish green, aluminum makes silver, magnesium makes white. And we thought that was really crazy cool, and that would be something to implement and tell people, well, you're not unlocking new colors of fireworks, you're unlocking new periodic table elements that give you colors. That way you can kind of mix in kind of a nerdy, cool, like STEM fuel side to it. And people were telling us, that's really cool, and people loved that we were incorporating the periodic table, but they said, in this tech demo, I don't see it. There's just no reference to it. There's no feeling of it there. It's just like you're just telling me that, but I'm not experiencing it in the gameplay.
What's STEM?
Oh, by the way, yeah, STEM, for those of you who don't know, it's kind of the big thing about teaching people nowadays. It's an acronym short for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. So,
Big buzzword for education.
Yeah. And that's kind of the thing that we want to push with this too, is that we want to show people that, everyone thinks, okay, you have educational games and normal games. We want to show them that you can have a normal game that has educational elements that are seamlessly integrated into the gameplay in a way that's compelling. So now we'll show you our Unity build. So when we went to the Unity build, we were still very married to this idea of doing like a rhythm game meets an asset management sim, and we thought we could save that with Burst. And so how we got around to it...
This is the right one, right?
Click the Burst logo down, way down in the bottom. So how we thought we could save it was we kept the launchers, kept the detonate button, but we put the beat meter directly in the middle. And keep in mind, this is a really rough build. This build we only tested a little bit internally until we realized it just wasn't working. And so Trevor's going to play it for you right now. It's going to be playing the song I'd Rather Die by the Helligans. And that song is in the final version of Burst, but it's a remix of it.
Yeah, and notice that we've gone from about 60% of the UI taking up the screen to about 40%, but it's still quite a bit of UI. And UI is user interface for those of you that don't know.
Or on-screen menu.
Yeah.
And UI is the technical term for it.
So we're going to go ahead and start this bad boy up.
And this one, it's still a little hard to get the fireworks to go because it was a really rough build. And there he got it first try. And these are fully 3D fireworks made by 3D Dude. They're available on the Unity Asset Store, and we're just using them as placeholders. We're developing our own fireworks right now that are more optimized for mobile platforms, because these ones were built for super high-end demonstrations. But
yeah,
so we tested this build internally only with just friends and family and team members, and the same critique came up. It's like, what, whoop-de-doo that it's in the middle of the screen. I'm still only looking at the beat meter and the shells and the detonate button. I'm not seeing the fireworks. They were hearing the boom of the fireworks going off, but still not seeing them. Still not getting that ultimate reward that was supposed to be part of it. So one of our programmers, Alex Rodriguez, wrote a whole report about it, put it on our private team whiteboard online, and started a discussion where we had to say, okay, what to us is the really great central things about Burst that are gameplay oriented, that really need to be the shining stars.
What's our core?
Yeah, exactly. And we arrived at two things. First of all, the garage bands, because the vast majority of the bands on Burst are unsigned bands, and when we were meeting with these people and going around with them and going to their shows, we realized they're a lot like us. As an indie studio, we're having to dig and claw to get success, and these people are having to dig and claw for it too, and it's more about the passion and the art. Yeah, you're trying to make a living at it, but if you're going to go into these kind of jobs, you really have to treat it like a do or die, and die is not an option. And we just fell in love with the fact that they're coming from a similar background to us, and then we're going to hopefully make some subsequent videos for you guys where we can introduce you to these bands.
And show the band some love.
Yeah, exactly. They deserve it. But so they're one of the pillars, basically. The other pillar was the fireworks, and the fact that the periodic table elements kind of gave them their color and gave them an edge that maybe fireworks and other fire games don't have, where you're understanding what's at play here, that a certain element's being set on fire to make that pretty color you're seeing. So,
and the break types.
Yeah, and the break types. For those of you who don't know, break types is the different kinds of explosions they do. And also in Burst, we use the actual industry terms like diadem, dahlia, peony, that kind of stuff. So we ripped apart, and I'll be up front, for me personally, it was a little hard at first because I was really sold that we could do something about a rhythm game meets an asset management sim. But I kind of got to the point where I'm still intrigued by it, but it just was not right for a very visual game like Burst, where we had to put something like the fireworks front and center all the time.
I thought Josh was going to cry when we first decided that everyone kind of voted on it and decided that we had to get away from the management sim, but
Yeah.
ultimately we've come a long way, and let's look at the latest version.
Yeah, and this latest build, the build we're showing you is the build from June. It's always being updated, always being improved.
And remember, this is still early, and that. And we'll pause it for a second so we can kind of explain it.
Alright, so once Trevor starts playing it fully, first of all, you'll notice full 3D now. 3D shiny happiness. But when
The
you
second
start...
thing you'll notice is that we've gone from 40% UI to about 5.
Yeah, we have a play pause button. Then we have our crowd meter here, and the crowd meter has always been a part of Burst. Basically, if you miss too many beats, it gets down to red. Miss too many in red, you fail. Here we have 2 buttons. The first button changes your break type, and it cycles through all the ones you currently have unlocked. And then the second one cycles through all the periodic table elements you have unlocked to switch up your color, and you get rewarded with extra points for constantly keeping the variety up. If you detonate 15 shells correctly in a row, you will get a pyro coin in the bottom, and a pyro coin, when you tap it, just lets the whole scene rotate in 3D for 15 seconds, and lets you just spam the buttons to create a flurry of fireworks to get an epic score. And how you actually detonate the fireworks is, around the fireworks as they go up, is rings, if you're playing on PC, or if you're playing with a PlayStation 3 controller, it'll be the PlayStation buttons, the X, circle, triangle, square, and the down key. And they turn green as they go up, and once they turn green, you tap them to blow them up on the beat. And for those of you wondering, if you're backing up the tier where you get into the backer-only beta, it'll be on PC, and if you want to play on a PlayStation controller, we will email you instructions on how to install and set up the motion and joy drivers that let us do it. It's not
fairly simple.
Fairly simple. You're not like writing line code or anything, but
no,
it's not plug and play, but it's not rocket science either, and we'll walk you through it.
One thing to remember if you do decide to do that, if you pick a USB port for your controller, always use the same USB port. That is very important.
Yeah, and we'll walk you through all that, so don't worry, don't stress on that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you hit the buttons to blow it up on the beat, and you just switch up the colors.
Change the stuff.
Yeah, and this way it feels more like you're in control of performance, and Trevor's going to play it now. The song that's playing is The Hope Movement's The Message, and this is a song that's included both on the soundtrack and in the final game.
And I just cashed in my pyro coin.
Hit it again.
Thank you. I didn't even know I had it. And just from playing it, as a person playing, it's so much more fun. And this ability to rotate the bridge, around the bridge, which is still kind of a ever-present theme in our game here, it just adds such a level of depth and a level of accomplishment when you get those 15 shells in a row.
Yeah, and I mean, it got to the point too where one of our programmers came up to us after we got this build working and said, you know what, I secretly absolutely hated the Flash build. It just did not play well. This version, we fixed all the kinks. It plays like a dream now. And so it's kind of cool to arrive at that point and know that we went through a real refining process to get a cool game out of it. And we really want to get it in your hands soon. And that kind of brings us to our little contest. We're going to ask your help in spreading the word even more. We got about 18 days left to cross the 10K mark. And we're not just going to ask you to go around spreading the word on Twitter for us and other places without expecting to give some sort of kickback. So here's what we're going to do. Whenever you go on Twitter to talk about Burst, please use the hashtag BurstGame, BURSTGAME, and we will keep track of that through Hootsuite. We're going to follow it on Twitter. Every time you use the hashtag BurstGame, and again, that's all one word, but every time you use that hashtag, it's an entry. And if we get funded, the second we get funded, we'll pick someone through a drawing off the list of those who've used the Burst game hashtag and give them a PlayStation Vita with the Burst skin that you see on the Product Funder site. And also,
hopefully a download code for Burst as long as we've got those set up.
Well, yeah, they'll get they'll be put in line to get a download code.
They'll have it anyway, yeah.
Yeah, they'll get a download code once it's available. So that way you'll get a Vita to play Burst on, a Vita skin to show the world how much you love our game, and a download code to rock it. So please spread the word, get going on that. Of course, the only caveat is anyone who works with our crew, our product finder, of course, isn't eligible for that. But if you're not, go.
Seriously, I was. Oh.
You have a Vita.
I know, but I want.
But
Fine.
Yeah. But yeah, so go like mad. Go spread the word. Help us break the 10K mark. And thank you again so much for helping us even break the 1K mark. It's already just the amount of support that was shown to us just to get past that point is just overwhelming and awesome. And we are so grateful for you helping be a part of our story. Thank you so much.
And just the last thing, I was wondering how Josh was going to keep track of the hashtag tweets. He's got it figured out in Hootsuite. I was kind of impressed. But he's got it figured out, so don't worry, your hashtags will be read, and we will make sure to put a drawing for everyone. And
yeah, just make sure you're hashtagging it on Twitter, because the Hootsuite...
Facebook we can't follow. But.
Yeah, the Hootsuite column I'm using tracks Twitter, so make sure you get your entries on Twitter, because those are the entries that'll count.
And I think, finally, just thank you guys so much, and go Burst.
Yep, thank you.